Joining us now from Istanbul is Harun Armagan. He is a high-ranking member of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's AK Party. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Sarah.
Now, we just heard President Erdogan describing the reinforcements Damascus is sending to Afrin as 10 pickup trucks of Shia militia. Is he in denial about Assad's support for the YPG?
Well, first of all, Sarah, I would like to correct the word that was used in your footage. Turkey isn't invading Syria. Turkey is doing its self-defense, and it is a given right to Turkey at international law, at UN Article 51, because we have been attacked from the Syrian border over 700 times in last 1 year, and that gives us right to self-defense and clear the threat that is threatening Turkish people and our border. So we are.
But ultimately, Mr. Armagan, I mean, this is currently Syrian territory, isn't it? Are you saying that because you have had those? Are you willing to go to war with Syria right now?
Right, like Sarah, I think I'm trying to make it very clear that we are not in war with a country. We are just trying to neutralize a threat to our citizens and borders. And this is an international, this is a right given to Turkey as in a part of international law. In 2012, we updated the rule of engagement in our Syria border. Look, we have over 900 kilometers border, and then there was ISIS, there is the terrorist PKK and PYD in Syria. There's a civil war in this country, and 3 million people have came to our country, and many more are coming. And now, when we are trying to neutralize the threat, it's not opening a war to a country. It's just securing the people that actually fleeing to us, and it's securing our border. Let's make it very clear. We are very open with this, and we want to make it very clear for everyone. We are respecting the territorial unity of Syria. This is why we are the only country that is fighting with all terrorist organizations in Syria. And let me give you one example, that when we made the operation in Jarablus, over 100,000 people went back to Syria for resettlement. And this is more than many countries, the many European countries, number of the accepted refugees. I mean, Turkey is stabilizing Syria.
It's very clear, especially from what you're saying and also the rhetoric that we've heard from Turkish leaders, that you have committed to this offensive. But ultimately now, it seems as if the dynamics on the ground are changing with the involvement of these pro-regime forces. Given that, aren't you worried that the Russians, Assad's allies, that they might close the airspace over Afrin to Turkish aircraft? And how would that change your calculation?
We are being very clear on our position regarding when it comes to the terrorist organization, whether it's ISIS or PKK, and we shared our concerns and our position very clearly with Russia, United States, and other allies in the region, including Iran and Syria. And we made it very clear that we will never allow any terrorist organization to flourish in our border. If some local forces connected to regime are supporting and helping these terrorist organizations, and we would do what is necessary to be done to neutralize the threat, and we've been very clear on that. But today, with the President Erdogan's speeches, we have also seen that we are in contact with President Putin, and we are sharing information with President Rouhani, and we are sure that the local forces, maybe uncontrolled local forces, will be more careful when they are actually supporting a terrorist organization.
Now, President Erdogan, for his part, I mean, he says that Turkish forces will lay siege to the city of Afrin. Why isn't Turkey planning to take the city by assault?
Well, we are not. We like I said, we are not trying to take any city. We just want to neutralize the threat that has been attacking Turkish border and Turkish citizens more than 700 times in the last 12 months. I mean, maybe our European partners and allies don't know that, but terrorist PKK and PYD in Syria are the same organization that Turkey is fighting over 20 years. And let me make it very clear that terrorist PKK, the main branch of PYD, is also a terrorist organization according to NATO. So we are actually defending NATO borders in Syria when we are doing this operation. And I would like to invite people to Jarablus and Eurofil Shit operation areas. When we cleared from ISIS, we opened to legal to settlement of the Syrians. Now one of the best services of health, study, education are given in this area. Many Syrians from other regions are coming to this area. We made it very clear in the beginning when the Syrian war was starting, no one can take 3 million refugees. We are hosting over 3 million people in our country. And we think that the solution is creating security zones inside Syria so people can stay in their own countries. And we made an example in Eurofil Shit operation. And in this operation, we expect our allies come with us, fight with us against this terrorist organization, and create more security zones so people can go back to Syria.
And I'd like to talk a little bit more about those alliances and also some of the terminology that you've been using. You've been saying that you're fighting against terrorist organizations. You're referring there to the Syrian Kurds. You're grouping them with the PKK. But ultimately, we know that the groups that are there in Syria, the YPG, the PYD, they are really seen as allies of the United States. At least the United States is backing them in the fight against the so-called Islamic State. Are you concerned? Are you prepared for a potential backlash among your NATO allies?
Well, we are not fighting with Syrian Kurds. We are fighting only the terrorists, the PYD and PKK in Syria. Indeed, we have accepted over 200,000 Syrian Kurds when they are actually fleeing from terrorist PKK, terrorist PYD, and Assad regime. So, if we were fighting with Kurds, we wouldn't really accept them. They are now peacefully living in Turkey, and they are waiting for the day that the Syria, their own soldier territory, will be safe and they will go back. So why we are fighting with terrorist PKK and PYD? Because they are attacking Turkey over 20 years. 2 years ago, Secretary of Defense Ashton Carter, he made it very clear that PYD and PKK are the same terrorist organizations, but they are using this organization to fight against ISIS. Now we would like to make it very clear that one terrorist organization is fighting another terrorist organization doesn't give any legitimacy. All terrorist organizations are the same. And if we want a more stable Syria, if we want Syrian people to go back to their country, we should allow no terrorist organization to be strengthened.
Harun Armagan, high-ranking member of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's AK Party, we thank you very much for joining us this evening with your view. We appreciate it.